Hi everyone, I'm Robert Spencer and welcome to Moving Beyond. In our last video newsletter, we played with gravity, using a really functional and necessary movement in this day and age, in which we learned how to get out of a chair to standing, and then back from standing to sitting again. And we wanted to find a way to do this that had minimal strain on every joint and was absolutely minimal in perceived effort. Today we're going to continue to play with gravity, but with a bigger movement, this time from standing to sitting on the floor, and then getting from sitting on the floor back onto our feet. The same criteria are important. It needs to have minimal effort and eliminate strain on all parts of the body. We'll do this by using a principle that Feldenkrais called reversibility, and he was adamant that a movement that is well organized generally is reversible, and that means that the same trajectory that got us down to or wherever we were moving to, we can use the same pathway to get back. Very much like putting a movie into reverse and watching it going forward, going back, and seeing that the pathway, the trajectory was the same. I thought about doing this because not so long ago I was talking to a man who was very excited that his grown daughter was going to move back to town after living out of state for several years. But he was worried. He said, she's got 2 little kids and they crawl around down on the floor. I mean, I'm 60 years old. How am I going to get down on the floor to play with them? How am I going to get back up if I manage to get down there? And I was kind of puzzled by that because he wasn't overweight. He didn't have any artificial knees or hips. The discs in his lower back were fine. I think what had happened is it had been so long since he'd done this that he'd forgotten how. Or at least he'd forgotten how to do it easily and safely. So it's worth spending some time. There are reasons to get down on the floor or down on the ground, and we have to be able to have confidence that we can get back up again. Maybe we're going to work in the garden. Maybe you want to be on the floor to play with grandchildren. Maybe you want to pet a puppy. Or maybe you need to get down there just to pick up something that you dropped. There are a lot of reasons to do it. Now, my friend Ellen is going to demonstrate this in the next video clip. It's her first experience with Feldenkrais. She's never done a lesson before, and the way that she does it, the way I lead her through it, is similar to what we would do in a class. Although in a class we would spend a little more time with it and refine it to become even more precise. But I think you'll enjoy watching her learn. So let's go see. Alright, this is my friend Ellen, who has volunteered to be our model. She is inexperienced in Feldenkrais work. This will be her first lesson, so she's going to show us a way that one can learn to safely and almost effortlessly get up and down from the floor. So you ready to go, Ellen?
Sure am.
Okay. Now, we're going to start very slowly. Would you please just take both of the palms of your hands and point them at 2 spots on the floor, a foot or a little more out in front of each foot. Now, this is a little bit silly, but notice that you can reverse that movement and get right back to where you started. Easy. So do that again and reach a little closer to the floor. Good, and then come back and reverse it. And that's very nice. So just continue that process, if you would. Each time, add a little more and make sure that you can come back to where you started, just like reversing a video. If you do that, the movement will be safe. You won't be in any trouble because you'll just add a little bit at a time and not bite off more than you can chew. And eventually you'll find you can touch the floor, that's right. And you'll find that you can soften your knees and soften your hips. And then from even touching the floor and leaning with a little weight, you can just come right back where you were, bringing your hips directly underneath you. And that is what brings you to stand up. When you're ready, make another movement, bring your hands to the floor, and maybe commit a little more weight to them this time. And notice that you can back up and reverse that. And just bring your hips under you. Very nice, so you don't strain the knees too much. Now eventually you'll find you can put a lot of weight on your hands, and you can trust them, and you can start to walk your hands forward a little bit so you can bring your knees down to the floor, and you'll be on all fours. Now your task is to reverse that. Walk your hands back so that you come up onto your feet. And from here, just bring your hips under you like before. That's great. Now, once you can do that, you can walk your hands in a little farther out. You can come down to hands and knees. And from here, you could turn to sit on the floor, you could lie down, you could play with the puppy, you could work in your garden, you could do whatever you wanted to get on the floor for. Now, you just reverse that, and you'll come back onto your hands and knees. Gently walk your hands back so you come onto your feet, and bring your hips under you and rise up just like before. That was really nice. Want to do it again just for good measure? Okay.
Yeah, they used to call me One Take Ellen.
All right.
But I did another take.
Okay, well, we're doing the same take.
Okay. That's my bad hip.
That's great. If we want to take another few minutes and play with this, we get rid of that little bump when you sit down on the floor too, but you have the idea. I'll leave that up to you.
Well, I should try doing it the other way. I always do it that way, and I think it's because this is a bad hip.
Eventually you want to do both ways,
Yep.
if you can. There you go, that was smooth. Especially don't want to get a bump. If you do have a sore hip or a problem there, you really don't want to just drop it, fall on it, even that last little bit on a hard surface like this. Yeah. There you go. All right, that's it. I'll leave it to you to improve it from there at your own wish. Thank you.
All right.